If you just joined us, please turn off your cell phones, no flash photography, and no video. Gary, congratulations. Give us an overview, please.
I'm going to look at this in just a sec.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
We're in no hurry.
I won't take long. Well, obviously, really pleased to get the win against a really good UNC club. Game obviously is a much different game than the final score reflects. Obviously, we got the big number there in the 8th inning, but you're talking about a 4-2 game through 7. I thought we did a really good job of making pitches when it mattered. When the game got tight, Konnor did a great job through 6 of making pitches when the game was in the balance or the inning was in the balance. We did a really good job defensively. Really proud of how we played defensively as well. Obviously, we lost the ball in right field. That didn't help, but we minimized it. We kept our poise, and that was, I thought, one of the big turning points early on. And then, obviously, the hitter of the game, the player of the game is Jordan Westburg, taking advantage of opportunity there in 2 instances, running the breaking ball out of the yard and then getting the fastball down the line for a total of 7 RBIs. Great day for us, and then obviously a day he and his family are going to remember forever. So, questions?
Okay, questions for the student athletes, please. Once again, identify yourself, your affiliation, and to whom you're directing the question. We'll start, David.
Jordan, after your game, the first night, David Murray, Gene Space, 24/7. After your game on Saturday night, you and the rest of the freshmen seemed to shake that off and just come out and attack a really good pitcher. Was that the game you expected out of yourself?
I don't think so, but I did expect to go out there and compete every at-bat in the box. I just saw it well today and took advantage of a few miscues.
Okay, Aaron.
Aaron Fitt, you in baseball. Jordan, you had a grand slam in the College World Series. I mean, what was that moment like for you? And did you imagine, earlier this year as a freshman that you'd do something like that?
I think that's something. I think it's something you always dream about, but imagining that, with the way the season went, it's kind of hard to imagine something like that. But it was unbelievable. It's a moment that every ball player wants to go through, and I was lucky enough to experience that.
Okay, Eric.
Yeah, Jordan. Eric Olson with the Associated Press. Be remiss if I didn't ask you how much credit the banana gets for that. Did the banana? Did you guys have some mojo today?
I think we had a good banana today. I think that's all I can say about that. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of potassium. Okay. Next question. Oh, got somebody in the back here.
Blake Scott, WRKS Jackson. Jordan, you've been at the center of the Rally Banana thing, but more for your in the dugout contributions to the team. How did it feel today to really put that into effect on the field and see that translate into what you put out there?
It felt great. I think, if you're gonna do all the shenanigans in the dugout, you might as well, or might have to step it up on the field and back that up. So it was nice to do that today.
Okay, Aaron.
Konnor, they had some chances early in the game, runners in scoring position, you were able to minimize. Did you feel like after you got through those first couple of threats that you kind of found your groove a little bit? And what was your mentality when they kept coming at you early on?
Yeah, I felt early on. I think I was just trying to throw it, and I guess the atmosphere kind of got to me a little bit. I will admit that. The first 2 innings, I feel like left some balls up and got behind in the count, and they had their opportunities, and I was lucky way to get away with some pitches. 3rd through the 6th inning, I really just told myself I'm going to back off the velo a little bit and try to sink a couple pitches here and there and just try to stay black to black and stay down in the strike zone. And, I guess that really succeeded me.
Okay. Got John over here. Oh, I'm sorry. Back in the back.
Logan Lowry, Tupelo Daily Journal. Jordan, the freshman had really struggled on Saturday. Do you feel like it was just a matter of time before you guys broke through in a game like this?
Absolutely. A lot of the freshmen have contributed all year, and it was just one bad game. I think we bounced back and just knew that it was going to happen. The way the season's been going, we were always locked in every game, and we're not going to carry one bad game on to the next.
Okay, John.
John Nantel with the Omaha World Herald. Konnor, I guess just what's a pitcher's reaction to seeing a grand slam in the second inning, from a freshman nonetheless, and I guess just kind of take us through your emotions watching that from the dugout.
Obviously, it's a cushion. I give it one in the first, and then he comes in the second and says, "Hey, got your back." I don't really consider, our freshmen anymore. I really consider them first-year players. This time of the season, everybody's great, no matter if they're a freshman or a senior. He stepped up in the job today and really gave me a lot of cushion going, from the second on. And, going like that, you can't ask for more. So.
Brett Hudson with the Commercial Dispatch. Konnor, this team's obviously had a lot of weather delays and postseason play, and they stay loose, but they also lock it down and focus when they need to. Where does this team, with so many young players, find the maturity to handle those things well and be ready when they're called upon?
I think this year's class that came in, and the JUCO guys really understand that they need to be mature if they want to play on this team. Being able to come after any kind of weather delay like that, like we had the last 3 levels of playoffs. Coming in like that and just staying locked in and making plays. So.
Got another one? Back over here.
Alex Sindelar, whiteandbluereview.com. Jordan, you're sitting 0-2 in that at-bat. You take a pitch, and then, you get pretty much all barrel on a breaking ball. It was left way up. What did it feel like coming off the bat, and did you know it was gone?
Yeah, he went fastball, breaking ball. So that fourth pitch, I think I had an idea of what he was trying to do. And like you said, he left it up. I put a good swing on it, caught a lot of barrel, and it's just an unbelievable feeling. I think I knew it was going off the bat, but with the wind blowing and bases loaded, just making sure it got out.
We'll have time for one more question for the student athletes. If somebody wants to take it. If not, guys, go get ready for Friday.
Thank you.
Thursday? Yeah, Friday. Friday. Thanks, guys. Okay, questions for Gary? Jump right up.
Hey, before we get into the questions, just let me say one more time how much we appreciate our fans in Mississippi State. Those people are awesome. They're with us the entire time. We feel them. They're there. They impact the game. They impact our kids, and we all appreciate them a great deal.
Okay.
Tyler Cleveland with the Clarion Ledger. Coach, you mentioned Westburg and the way he performed today, but it seemed like all your freshmen stepped up a day after struggling. Right here.
There we go. It's a little difficult to see up here.
Yeah, it just seemed like all your freshmen that you had in the lineup stepped up a day after they had struggled at the plate. Can you just comment on that?
Well, just in terms of Rowdy and Tanner, I thought the game was a little fast, and you got to give a lot of credit to Austin Bergner early on. Those are real pitches. Those are really, really good pitches. You start mixing that type of velocity with that type of changeup, that makes things difficult. And obviously, really proud of Rowdy in terms of where he was from the first 2 at bats to where he was the last 3. In-game adjustments after short-term failure is a tough thing at times for those young guys, and did a really good job. Obviously, happy with Tanner, but Jordan Westburg, my goodness, double and dong and 7 RBIs. You're proud of him. Not surprised. They're tough kids, and I thought the environment was a little bit big. I thought the stuff was good. But they got right back to where they needed to be. They're quality kids.
Okay, Aaron? Right.
Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball Coach. Westburg, I think from the outside, everyone thinks with the banana thing and, maybe some kind of a goofball, but he seems like he's pretty grounded here. How have you seen his mentality translate to this big stage here with a game like this?
Well, we know those guys in in a real way in terms of who they are and how they respond, and the things that he's had to, in my opinion, the things that he's had to make adjustments on or areas that he's needed to grow in, he's done a wonderful job. And he and I have had those very, very specific conversations, 5 or 6 times. Hey, if you're going to play here, if you're going to be successful here, if you're going to get on the field, then you need to be able to do these things. And so I think, where we are now, you need to be able to let those guys have some fun. They got to be able to do that. He's got to, make the phone call on the banana, right? You got to be able to do those things, and then you got to be able to become somebody different when you're in the box. Same thing with the guy on the mound. Konnor's going to be a little bit different kid or Friday in the dugout than he was today pitching, and that's the nature of our sport, and that's kind of a responsibility that I think that you have as a coaching staff to make sure that you find that balance where those guys are free enough to enjoy who they are and the differences in personalities. We got a really diverse group of personalities, and I think that's extremely important in baseball. You have to. You got to have guys that are like the coach, and you got to have guys that are a lot different than the coach, in my opinion. And he's a really intense kid, super intense. He's not a goofball, And so when he finds a way to let some of the air out a little bit and enjoy it and have fun, and not maybe, grind. I think it's incumbent upon us to notice that and respect that that's important.
Okay, David.
Gary, even though you've praised Konnor for how he's put up with so much this season and struggled through it, still is it rewarding to see him finally, I think first time in several months, to get a winning decision after all the labors he's put in?
Well, yeah, and I look at that before the game, and we get the lineup, and I look at that, and I see 2 and 6, but that's just the nature of it. A.J. Reed went winless in 2013. There's things that you can't control from the starting pitching position, and I think it's a real credit to Konnor Pilkington that he has not complained once about anything in terms of run support, bad luck, anything at all, not one, and I think that's a testament to how he was raised, who he is. I think he's a total winner. I think I'd like him to be more efficient pitching. That's a discussion he and I have a couple of times every week. We're working on it, and you saw a lot more secondary pitches today than you saw a month ago. I think we're moving in the right direction. But 3 wins, in my opinion, does not represent what he has meant to this club or the contribution that he's given us. And the guy's a total winner, and he competes really well. And I think he's got enough maturity to realize that even though he can't get through a lot of innings from 12 to 15 pitches, he's more of a 18 to 21 guy. I think that you got to respect that, and you got to make him feel comfortable with who he is. And I think that once you can really establish that they are who they are, and it's okay. Some guys don't hit home runs, and I think that has helped him, in my opinion. Now, and throughout his career, he's going to have to become more efficient.
Okay, over here, Larry.
Gary, you've got a couple of days before you play again. What will you do as a team over the next couple of days?
Well, we'll practice each day, and I'll give them some free time. They'll be in bed by 10, or at least they'll be in their room. And I'm going to do a really good job of making sure that they understand that this thing's not even close to being over, and that we got to show up, and we're going to play the Beavers or the Tar Heels on Friday, and those are 2 really good clubs. And we'll do the absolute best we can as a coaching staff to make sure that our kids are ready to go on Friday. What time's game time Friday? Does anybody know? 2? Okay. Well, we'll do the best job that we can to get the kids prepared.
Extra hour.
Coach, just another follow-up on Jordan. You kind of talked about the mental adjustments he's made, but I mean, for a guy that came in as a big projection guy, right, big body, who spent some time, I see in the lineup early and then was out for a while of the lineup, then back in. I'm just curious how you've seen him develop as a player to the point that now in the postseason he's starting every game and usually getting a couple of hits for you.
So you want to know about his path?
Yeah. Correct.
Well, he's like a lot of guys. There's some short-term failure there, and he doesn't handle it any better than the average guy, and so he's got to get better at that, and that's a lot of the conversations revolved around that. And I have significant input with him because I'm not dealing with him every day from a hitting basis. And so I have the position of being the head coach. And when the head coach comes and talks to you about something that you've got to do, you got to make an adjustment. It's impactful, you know. Not that it's not with the pitchers, but it's a different relationship that you have. And so he and I have had that conversation on a few times. He's got to learn to manage some emotions. He tries really hard. He's a really good competitor. He's going to play baseball for a long time. In terms of not being in the lineup, that's a hamstring issue, you know. And I think it was I could be wrong, but I think it's the second Gator game, you know. And so that cost him some time. And if there's some stuff in there before that, that's just a contact issue. He's a good player, and but the only significant time that I remember missing was related to the hamstring. But, you know, those guys, I don't know if it was Konnor. I guess Konnor said, you know, they're not freshmen anymore, and there's a lot of truth to that. You know, you can be a freshman those first 3 or 4 SEC weekends, but other than that, you better grow up or the game's going to pass you by, and I think our guys have done a really good job.
Okay, we have time for one more question for Gary this session, if somebody wants it, and you win, Alex.
Coach, it seemed like, I mean, multiple times this game, your guys kind of capitalized on North Carolina's mistakes. Is that kind of a mentality that you guys have in the dugout of you kind of you gear up a little bit when North Carolina, and especially I think Daltrus at third base made a couple of errors. But I mean, is that an attitude change for you guys when you're like, all right, it's time to bury them after they kind of make a mistake like that?
What I think, and I think I'm dead on. I think everybody that's here is capable of taking advantage of the other team's mistakes. I think that's how you get here. I think absolutely we are better at that piece of the game now than we were early in conference. You're talking about the ability to narrow things down, get really specific. And what that means is I've got to put it in play hard as opposed to maybe necessarily trying to hit the big ball when the matchup doesn't suggest that that's the right goal. But I think everybody here, you know, Carolina's a really good team. They won 44 games. They had a bad inning, you know, and they kicked a couple balls. He got in between there a couple times, and the one ball jumped up and got him in the chest. But that's a really good player that had a bad day. And if we play them again on Friday, I certainly would not expect them to play the same way. It'll be a tight game, and we'll have to win late. Thank you.
Gary, thank you. Keep the momentum.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Without the extra